Yes, please. That's the selection I chose. All right. Got a little coffee. Got a few free minutes. Wanted to hop on, take a look at some things, because that's what's going on. You know, things are happening, things are moving. It was a pretty good day overall from what I could tell. Let's see, we're on the 7-day. Let's switch over to the 1-day. Let's see what was shaking here. Yeah, so Mana was moving, or Mana, however you pronounce it. Loon, RDN, these are pretty low caps. Loon, I know we've looked at before. RDN, I don't remember the last time we pulled that chart up. Theta, though, Theta's been moving for a month. Solid. So this has been, you know, wait for it to retrace and pick up on the dips type deal. APPC, low market cap. BAT was another one we were looking at. BAT was good. Had good moves, retraced a fair amount, 85, so now we're looking at 886. ICX, pretty solid. ELF, solid. So we're going to take a look at a few things. Let me just load this up over here because, you know, I'm always sliding back and forth between a few things. That's all right. Hopefully things are a little bit smoother tonight. You know, we're gonna find out. Herbert Garcia, good evening. Hey, Parsoon. Prasoon. I'm sorry, I just butchered your name and I apologize. Hey man, what's happening? So yeah, we were just talking on Twitter actually about pulling on Theta and ICX. So why don't we do? Well, I have BAT up right now, so let's scope BAT. Of course, now everything is just lagged. All right, so we're gonna have to deal with the lag. It's part of the growing pains. That's what we're dealing with. Okay, so we have the 1-day chart is open right now. We're looking at a few different things here, but this move right here is the wild one, right? This is all right. We have to wait for this thing to. It hates me. That's what's going on, and that's fine. All right, we're looking at a 12% move up. No volume's all right. I feel like something's off in my headphones, but I'll let that ride for now. Yeah, we had. Let me clear this up too. Just take a look at just the candles momentarily, and some moving averages. Of course, we get rid of those, but that's fine for now. So this big move, right? This big giant move right here, which is already built in the big giant retrace, which we're okay with. So we were looking at this move already. Pulled in 12%, and then we had another 9%. So we're over our 20%, which is what we like, on top of coming over our previous structure high, which is this guy here. And that's on top of coming out of this range, right? So quite a bit of range. Let's say we start this range started beginning, and that's after this big move up, good pullback, nice good push up, and then the big retracement, right? So retracement right here we found on our slate, and our slate is our this is our 100-day, right? So wait, is it blue, orange, green, brown, slate? Yeah. So 8, 13, 8, 13, 21, 55, 100, and then the big white one is the 200. Anyway, make a long story short, we did find support for that temporarily, and then we lost it right here when we had the cross. So now we are back underneath it, so that adds a little bit more weight into this particular trend, and that's what we like to see, a little bit of confluence. Now on top, we have our RSI, which on the daily up here, we're showing that we crossed up into, and now we're currently in pullback mode. So we want to see, well, we don't want to see that, but we want to see something along the lines of this, but not as dramatic. We want to be able to come up, right? We want to pull back. A nice good pullback is okay, but then we want to be able to come back up again and make a higher high on the RSI. We don't want this big gap down here. That's no good. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that, you know, as we go. Now, something to look for what we just saw, the long term, you still have this to deal with, right? This has been a trend for, you know, over a year, and this is nothing to take lightly. These top out areas are very much in sync. Now, this one we did creep up and over, but again, we weren't really able to do anything with that. And we don't want this to turn into another one of these where we top out and have a massive retrace and then another good swing up. So let's you know, stay focused on the bigger picture, but we could still trade, you know, within trend, right? Oh, well, I just destroyed that. Yeah, I guess we already had that line up there. Something similar to that. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit more. Now we can see that the larger picture, right? So on the macro scale, you can see this big symmetrical triangle, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 confirmed touches to the top, 1, 2, 3 confirmed touches to the bottom. Typically speaking, in a symmetrical triangle, you want to break out post 50, pre 75% of the actual pattern. We're well beyond the 50% mark, which, just eyeing it up, would be somewhere around here. This would have been a great opportunity, but it failed. And the 75 zone is just about where we're at now. We're probably creeping into 80 or so. And that's not a cold, hard fact. That's just it's just an observation. All right. But what we would really like, is to get out of this symmetrical triangle pattern. Get away from the apex, get out, retest it, and then make new highs. You definitely want to get over structure high over here. Now, we do have a couple levels to deal with as we creep up, one of which is a structure high on a rebound. So this was on a pullback, and the other one was the larger pullback from that whole move. So you're looking at 44.11, 41.23, which is where we're finding support right now as we speak. So that's something to consider. 44.11 is something to consider for, you know, more resistance as we trade further up. Now on the daily, which is what we're on right now, this is what we're looking at as far as this larger move. That's what we're that's what we're eyeing up, right, for potential entries. So 618 area off of this large move, right, the bigger move. So 1, 2, 3 days plus the current trading that's happening right now for this daily. So we're about 5.5 hours into that candle. The 618 would be a good target entry if you felt so and wanted to sort of rush it. This would be your next entry right there, that 41.23 zone, which is what we're below. So we're already in entry area if you're not already in. Of course, this is not financial advice. I have to say that so you guys don't sue me. Anyway, so this is what we were looking at as far as entries. And I seen it, we seen this move yesterday, but we were waiting for this to happen. So it was good, and we're happy with it. This was a target area to get over, and we were. You could see right on the line, right at the tip of that wick, was the actual bounce zone right here. So that's where we lost it 2 days ago, closed it, opened it, pushed down a little bit right to the 786, and ended up pushing way up here. But the idea is, we don't think it's over. This is a nice trend. This is your low, right? This is your higher low. This is not your higher high, so we missed out on that one, but this is your higher high. So the larger picture, we're in an uptrend. As far as the trend tracker is concerned, we're looking pretty good overall, with just sideways slightly bearish in the 5-minute chart. But bullish on the 4 and the 6, which is nice. Looking to convert the 12 and the daily as more more price action history comes our way, right? So you can see on the daily chart, we are sideways, you know, but we are slightly bullish, which is what we're doing right now. So that's what I got for BAT. I don't want to say it's too late to enter, but this is a good zone right here. Let me just put it that way. Certainly expected to do more things and be able to push past this 5 zone and get itself up out of this symmetrical triangle, which would be really nice. We want to get up out of it, close above it, come back and retest it, and then it's time to reassess what's going on here. But support with the 100, the 200, of course, all your MA support is definitely nice to have. An increase in volume during the course of time, an average volume up for the whole move. That's all stuff that's good stuff. Good stuff all together. Let's see, press soon, coins to enter, pen knob. Is it just me or is the connection wonky? Yeah, no, it's not just you. There's lag on my end, so you'll see on YouTube or whatever platform you're on, you'll see lag on that end, which will make it seem like it's you know, it's a little slow. All right, but just bear with it. Everything will be fine. We work through it. What about mana? Yeah, we're gonna pull up mana right now. Let's see. Is there? No, there should. Well, if you have a connection problem on your end, I mean, there's nothing I could do about that. But as far as what's being streamed, right? That's all. That's good. Your connection to YouTube is totally different. I can't control that. But you might see like the cursor stutter a little bit or lag behind a little bit. But that's me. That's not you guys. So don't worry about that. Ricky Thompson, what's happening, buddy? Huge difference if you use BTC versus USDT on the scanner. BTC lots of green, USDT lots of red, and sideways 4x4s. Yeah, of course. So your pairings, you know, depending on what Bitcoin's doing. So if let's see, to put it very simply, if Bitcoin is doing well, or it's outperforming the alts, right? You're not going to see big moves in the alts, or the alts moves will seem smaller, right? Because they have to keep pace with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up like 5%, that's going to take away from these moves. Even if they do go up, they have to outpace 5%, which something like Mana, no problem, 56%. So that's great. When BTC is going down, right, it could drag the alts with it because of the SAT value. But again, on the other hand, if they're able to withstand or not hold the pace of going down as fast as Bitcoin, then they'll end up looking good, right? Because even though their SAT value goes down, their USD value either remains the same or goes up. So that's, if you look at the BTC pairings, you're going to see that situation. Same thing with ETH, but ETH and Bitcoin follow each other fairly well for the most part. Tether is the only stagnant, at least for the app. Tether's the only stagnant 1-to-1 USD. So that pairing, you're going to show your USD values. So it'll definitely look different. But you can still trade any one of them, right? So you have to get in on the trade or the trend that makes sense. I just have BTC up here because these were the ones that we were looking at earlier in the day. So I want to be able to focus just on those right now. So let's pull up Mana BTC because we were talking about that. All right, let's see. So obviously a huge move here. This is super important. I can't really stress this type of behavior any more than I already have. But the slate one right here, that's your 100-day moving average. And the white one, the big thick white one, that is your 200-day. These little guys down here are 8, 13, 21, and 55, and they all serve their own purpose. And we'll get into that in a video that's coming down the road. But I'm not going to spend too much time on those right now. Just know that, you know, if you have support by it, it's obvious. That's a good thing. All right, mana. So mana on the daily chart. Just take a look at a few things here. Yeah, overall, so you got a low. Yeah, you got a body, higher, low, and we're just about almost a double bottom down here. So let me throw this on, get an idea of what we're looking at as far as support resistance before we go any further here. Just do something like that. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. So you got a bit of a trend down here. Nothing too crazy. This overall move, this this high, right, ended up being another double top. So mana seems to historically find levels that it had issues with earlier and continue to have issues with them. This is for the course of history, right? We could look at almost like a triple bottom over here, which is not too far from its almost quadruple top over here. Now, of course, I'm zoomed out and I'm on the daily and I'm not going sat for sat, so keep that in mind. But just on a visual, a real quick visual glance, that's what we're looking at. Now, this area of rejection over here is right what we're contending with right now. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Of course, locally, this is obviously a local downtrend, but this is key right here. Structure high, structure high, structure high. Okay, these are all levels that are important. Well, let's take the body on that one. All important for one reason or another. There's been a reaction in the market during those levels, right? So to be able to blast up through them is huge. This is huge, right? Breaking 2 areas of resistance in one shot in one 24-hour period, that's a big deal. All of this is good. All the moving averages down below. Being able to cross up over is super bullish, right? So what we want to do here, we want to take a look at this move. We want to be able to measure that out and see what kind of respectable pullback would we get. So let's grab the bottom of the actual, you know, area, bottom of the trend. Let's pull this up, and again, it's not exact, so, but I explain it every time I'm on with the lag. Things happen to the mouse, you know, so we just have to do some things differently than I would, you know, sitting by myself alone, but that's okay. All right, so if we are to take the current move all the way up top where it hit 1479, we would be looking at pullback areas to get within an uptrend, right? So we haven't fully established an uptrend here, so it's inherently a risky trade, but we do like the percent gained, and we expect a pullback and a continuation. That being said, typically, I'd be looking between the 382 and the 618 as an entry zone. Here's something to consider. Support from the 100 and the 200 likely to be retested. All right, likely to be retested. So if that, now you had a nice bullish crossover here, and look how long it took to get it. Lagging indicators, we'll talk about that. Well, I've already talked about it in other videos, but we're creating a new video where we're going to talk about it again. So this is likely to be retested. Now in its current zone, it's sitting at 1204 for the 100, 1179 for the 200. Obviously, those will move, but they're not going to move until this candle's painted. So I would be okay, if I wanted to get in, I would be okay with doing something like this. And I'll tell you why, right? I'm not just going to throw the green box on there for no reason. First off, I like 618 pullbacks, all right? Especially on a huge move, right? So a huge move up, you expect a retrace or a pullback. Between 382 and 618 for crypto seems to be pretty well respected. On the lower cap coins, 786, and the micro cap coins, you'd be down to like an 886. Sometimes they find support, but it's risky because sometimes they don't. That being said, confluence with the 100 and the 200 MAs right in that same ballpark, right? So the 100 MA sitting on the 5 currently, and the 200 in between the 5 and the 618, so probably somewhere around 55, 54 ballpark, right? So I'm already happy with this zone. Generally, I'll go up to the 382, down to the 618 if I also like other things happening. And I do like volume, and I do like the MAs, and I'm going to scope RSI right now. So RSI for the daily chart, we've creeped up, breached over 70s, tailing around 74, and we can see that it's going, it's no longer going straight up now, it's going sideways. Sideways would indicate possibility of something like this, where it gets a little bit exhausted, loses a little bit of steam, and then works its way back up. If it has the momentum to do that, which I would think right now momentum should be on our side. This is a good little range breakout. So if we take a look at our box, this is what something we would have done. Let's get the magnet off. Come on, buddy. Don't just turn off. There you go. That's fine. All right, so we want to do something similar to this. All right. Now this is just rough. It's really fast, and you know, take it for what it is. But a range like this, similar in you know, activity or price difference, and pushing up out of that range. So it's a breakout play. It's a really nice breakout play. Will it come back down to the 5 and a 618? We don't know yet, right? I mean, the chance is that your buy-in was the 382, and we might have already missed it, in which case we wait for the next move and the next pullback. But I'm okay with these levels, and I'm okay with that entry. And if it gets hit, then I'm in the trade. If it doesn't get hit, I'm not going to be worried about it. There's more trades out there, and I'll look for the next retrace and try to get on that if market conditions are the same and we continue to be in an uptrend, especially if we're going to do something over here where we're going to start converting these into light green and then eventually dark green. All right. So if you see this, you know, keep your eye on that. If you see that trending and it starts trending upward, starts getting the green, then, you know, we're in a good spot. And that's where you get more confidence and more confluence into actually being part of that trade as a trend trader. All right. Let's see. What did I miss here? What about mana? Mana, we pull connection prone. Yep. It seems like it's buffering. I know everybody's trashing on my connection, man. Come on, guys. Go easy. I'm working on it. So now I know how to use BTC Scan. Connected and feeling lagging. Yeah, I know. I almost told myself I wouldn't stream anymore until the system's better, but I don't know how long we gotta wait for that to happen. So we're gonna power through it, guys. We're gonna power through it. Now we want to take a look at ICX as well, so let's do that. ICX BTC. All right, so that's mana. If you have any more questions, comments, or something on mana, just throw it out there, and we'll talk about it. Okay, ICX. This is another great example of pushing out of range. Right, so this is the range that we've been, dealing with since we got in there in late November. So this is a little bit of an older chart, but we have been talking about ICX lately. This is what I wanted to see. This is I don't know what I drew this February 18th. This is exactly what I want to see. I want to see it up. I want to see it push into the 1618. I want to see it get rejected and come back down and retest this range. And if you look right here, this is perfect. All right, this is exactly what we want to see. This is a breakout of range, close above, next candle, come down and retest. All right, this is an ideal setup, and we're very happy with this. So now that we have broken out of range, now we have target entries set up here in the 1618, 2618, 3618, 423. We have this guy to deal with. Right? This is the 200 MA that we just talked about on the mana chart, or the mana chart. If we were to get rid of this stuff, you'd be able to see down here the slate one, right? That's your 100 day. Your 100 day is just starting to cross underneath your 21, which is nice. All right. Now I'm trying to see. We got to zoom in here to see the 55. The 55 is brown, at least on my chart. All right, so this is important. If you guys are not familiar with MAs, pay attention. If you are familiar, then I don't want to bore you, but we're going to talk about them for a second. All right, so the way I have mine: blue, orange, green, brown, slate white. 8, 13, 21, 55, 100, and the white is the 200. And the white is, well, we're not dealing with it. The white's all the way up there. I'll show you in a second. All right. Generally speaking, in an uptrend, you want all of these guys in order, right? From, fastest to slowest being the 200. You want each one on top of the other one, all right? So faster to slower. So when you get a cross from a fast over a slow, that's a bullish cross. Opposite would be a bearish cross. All right, so if you've ever heard of the golden cross, or you've ever heard of the death cross, they're talking about the 50 going over or under the 200. So that is considered a very bullish signal or a very bearish signal. And these are lagging indicators, which means price action could take, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to finally catch up to it. But it's a great indication or confluence that these things are good. Now, you can use these for today's trading as well as moving support and resistance levels. So what we have currently, we now have support, right, from the 100 all the way down. Now, we don't have the 200. The 200 is resistance. But having the cross right here, that's the 55 over the 100. Right, that's when the 100 dropped lower than the 55, and now we finally have the 21 creeping up. So that's really good. All right, so that's something to keep in mind. Basically, as you're looking for targets, you could set these at as a target or a stop loss. You could set down here on the 8 or the 13 for any particular trade. There's a lot of different ways to use them, but I just wanted to talk about that for 1 second. Snow! What's up, Snow? We need to send you some crypto. You get better. It's not the internet, man. It's the computer is taxed beyond belief. So I'm trying. I will eventually buy a new one where I will stream from that one, and things will be a lot better. It's not in the cards right now, but it'll happen. There's a lot of stuff happening, but don't worry. If you deal with me through the crap, right, through the horrible streams, then it'll only be that much more enjoyable when things are better. Anyway, so let's get these out of here because this little mini prophecy was fulfilled. All right, so if everybody's cool with moving averages, then we're gonna move on to this particular trade. Now let's get we can get all this out of here for now. All right, that was the lower move, which is fine. I'm gonna slide this down to that bottom area, which is that little hammer pattern down there. All right. So we're going to keep our targets. These were our initial targets. 1618, 2618, up above 3618. This is certainly an area of interest, okay, as far as resistance is concerned. Once that 200 gets hit, some people will just get out of the trade altogether. Others will try to battle through it. If you see resistance on this, there's a potential chance to then buy that pullback and break through on the retest. For now, if you're looking for this entry, we got too much stuff on here. All right, if you're looking for, let's just do this. There we go. If you're looking for this entry, in other words, if you wanted to get in on this trade, we have to find a new entry, right? Because your entry was the top of the range. So if you're not in it yet, you might have missed it. So let's just take a look at from the bottom of this move. Let's throw that magnet back on. All right. So from the bottom of the move to the top of our current move, let's see what we're dealing with here. Currently finding support on the 382 for a pullback. All right. Tap down bottom at the 5, which is confluence to our range. And the 618 is below into range right here. Structure high brings us just below the 382, in between the 382 and the 5. So again, similar to Mana, I don't want to say that you've already missed your opportunity on a good entry. However, that being said, this may run for a little bit before we get the next good entry to get back in. Now, I would be okay with doing structure high. I don't quite want the 382. Obviously, we're already there. But I'm okay with going structure high, body to wick, which is in confluence with above the 618 and around, just above the 5. So let's just say, for example, we did something similar to this. Now, I understand that we're very close to current price action, but a pullback is a pullback. We may have already seen the pullback. All right, this is exactly where we wanted that candle to stop, and it did. So it did its job. Coming back down, retesting, finding support, and spitting it back the other way is exactly what we wanted it to do. So if we don't want it to do that anymore, then we lied to ourselves. coming up through this little mini uptrend. So that's what we're gonna look at as far as that's concerned. We could put our trends up and get a better idea on what possible support we have. But remember, like we were just talking about, we're looking at a Bitcoin pairing. If Bitcoin has a really, really, really good day and ICX can't keep up, we're going to see this type of pullback. Vice versa. If Bitcoin has a absolutely terrible day and drags everybody down with it, along with market sentiment and people pulling out of other trades in order to hop back into Tether, whatever the case may be, it could drag it back down. And we could be back in range. We've seen it right here. All right? So this is what you need to realize, that this isn't the end-all, be-all. It's a great setup. Doesn't mean that it's going to pan out. This was another great setup. Came up, good move, pushed up above. That was great. Support from all the lower moving averages. You just got support from the 55. Just had a nice bullish cross. Everything is going your way, and it tanks. All right, so take every trade carefully and manage your risk properly enough so that if it does go the wrong way, you're either, one, not stuck holding a bag of it, or two, you're at least out of the trade without losing too much capital, so that you have capital for the next trade. Know what I mean? All right, let's see. I just recorded about 20 seconds and sent it to you in your Twitter stream. Really laggy and blurry. What the hell? All right, well, obviously I can't pull up Twitter while I stream, because then you'll just see smoke. So we can't have that. But I just double check. SB, just double check on your end. Go to settings, right down that little gearbox on YouTube. Hit settings, and then see what you're under. See if you're under like 1080, 720, auto, 144. See what you're at, because even what I'm doing on the screen shouldn't really affect YouTube playback at all. Now, I know my screen's laggy. Like when I move the cursor, it takes a few seconds for it to respond. But it definitely shouldn't be blurry. There's no way, because I have OBS is shooting out, at least what I'm shooting out from my screen through OBS is good. No drop frames. Yeah, I got no drop frames. 49, 53 frames per second. Like, I mean, that it should be all right. So let me, SB, you're on the case. I'm putting you in charge of that. So, welcome to the club. I just gave you homework. I'm sorry. All right, so Manon we looked at. ICX we looked at. Bat we looked at. What was the other one I wanted to look at? Theta. I wanted to look at Theta. Yeah, Theta BTC. Was it Theta? It was Theta, but where? Theta. Okay, Theta. Theta, 67 million. Yeah, all right. We pulled this one up a few times. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look. So anyway, this ICX is looking good. So if you did get that on the pullback to range, then awesome. Okay, so yes, Theta we've been talking about for quite some time. Actually, we're able to rip 82% just from that move here, and that was off this that was off this not so pretty but well managed cup and handle. So this was a huge move up here. Things went parabolic for no apparent reason. Came back down, had a nice rounded out, had a bit of a 3 drive over here, leveled itself out. So once we tipped this zone, we said, well, you know what, that kind of looks like a cup and handle. We had our pullback here for the handle, found support on the 200, and pushed up, right? So pushed up into that first target zone, which was that ranged area, which was the pullback from the initial. All right, everybody see that? So you had the listing right on Binance. You pushed it way up. You came down. So this was your initial retrace, and this zone right here, which confluence to the first push up, was the target area for this. So you can see that was 82%. I mean, that's fantastic. Now from there, this move, right? So from the bottom cup up through the handle, these were our targets: 1618, 2618, 3618, 423. We could see every one of them just got hit. So all these targets, that 423 just got hit now. Because it just it hit it yesterday. It hit it yesterday. So that's cool. So this zone right here was supposed to be possible resistance zone, and it was. We came up, we failed, we lost, we failed. Came down, tried again, failed. Lower. Good push up. All right, now look at where it got the push, right? It got the push right at the 21. That's the 21 day. The green is the 21 day MA. So this is good. This whole trade was good. Now this trade is expired, right? We're basically done with this trade. We hit the 423. We're happy, you know, whatever that ends up being. A lot. 423. Somewhere around 138%. I mean, that's awesome. You can't ask for anything better than that. That's fantastic. So now let's look at the new trade, right? So now let's get rid of all this junk. Let's say, okay, now things are looking pretty good, right? We're clearly in a local uptrend. Local meaning, you know, a few weeks, right? So, you know, certainly we're not in an uptrend, so don't misquote me on that. But look at this. If you look at, so on the BTC for Binance, right? It's not a monster amount of history we're dealing with here. This is certainly a level that we're going to need to contend with, and that's going to be just about approaching the all-time highs. So Theta's got some work to do if it wants to smash through that. Now everything is on its side, including volume. You have support from every MA you could dream of. Let's see what the RSI is doing. Yeah, so RSI broke through. That's not good. That's a swing failure, but it ended up being okay. Another swing failure. Ended up being okay. Good pullback zone right here and smash up and through. We're sitting around 79. That scale goes to 100, and you could stay up there for weeks. All right, so we're not overly concerned about that. This is our biggest concern, is the mental block of achieving all-time high. All right, that's the mental awareness that you need to be as a trader. You need to at least recognize that it exists. Whether you trade off of it or not is completely irrelevant. But just know that it's there. Let's take from the bottom to this move, right? Our high right here. I want to see the retrace. So this pullback right here, barely even to the 382. All right, so that gives us an idea of the types of pullbacks that we can expect. You know, it might not be the 618 type of retrace. Now for the whole move, for this whole move from local low to local high,